Hey team, I'm wanting to talk about normal. And so I'm going to talk about like statistics, the normal distribution and standard deviation. And I've pulled this up just to grab some of the numbers. I don't know how to find like free to use images appropriately. So I'm just going to draw my own. And so this is the curve we use to describe normal. And then there's a line right in the middle, and this is called the normal, the normal, or the normal line. So what this means is if you're measuring a population, let's say you're wanting to find out how tall women are in your area, you would measure the height of all the women, and the normal height or the mean or the average height, like most women, are going to be at whatever this measurement would be. Maybe it's 5 feet 3 inches. I don't know. And then you would have women that are taller, and we get less and less women that are taller than 5'3" the farther away from 5'3" we go. And we get less and less women that are shorter than 5'3" the farther from 5'3" we go. So this whole entire concept is called the normal. Let me get a dashed line. Does that work? I'm sure there's a better way to like show this to you guys, but I don't know how to do that. So, okay, so what we're going to look at now is that half of this is 50% of the population and half of this is 50% of the population. And the numbers for normal, the first number we want to look at is 68%. So let's just use 60%, which means out of this 50%, 30 of it has to be within that first standard deviation. And then the next set will be like 97%, which is almost all the way to the end. And then we have one at 99. Is that the number? 60, 68, 95, 99. So close enough. So the majority, or 68% of our population, for whatever measurement we're taking, is going to live within this range around what we call the normal. And then 95% of the population will exist within this range, and then 99% of the population within this range. So what I see people like to say, this is probably most coming from like a depression perspective, as all of the things I talk about are going to come from that. But I also have people in my life that are like obsessed with normal, and like that's not normal. It's not normal to be like that. I'm normal, and it's like okay, the concept of normal includes all of this stuff. So if we were going to measure anything in a population, and we would want to only see these numbers because that's normal, and we would not want to see these numbers or these populations in the data set whatsoever, the data would be wrong. The numbers would be wrong. We would have done our measurement incorrectly, and we would have done it to make it fit a preconceived idea of normal. If you are measuring the population for whatever reason, you are going to have for sure 68%, which is more than half, most people here in this central area where everyone is most like each other. And then you're going to have still like 30% of the population, 15% either side, of like too low or too high, not enough or too much, whatever it is we're measuring. And this is still part of the normal. This has to be here. This is part of normalcy. You do not have this population without these outlier populations. It is one concept. It goes together. And so my big pushback against normal for depression is people will be like, it's not normal to be depressed. And it actually is very normal. I think the statistic is like 40% of people at any time are depressed, and that's a mix between people that don't really deal with depression but dip into depressive episodes because of normal life events like the death of a parent or the loss of a job, aging, or like waking up to the world around you being kind of shit. And then the other, bit of people that kind of consistently deal with depression are more or less depressive people. Those people are normal. And like what is normal for the person that lives here is not going to look the same as what's normal for the person that lives here. Both of them have a normal experience, and both of those experiences and both of those populations are required within like an accurate, full-fledged, well-rounded, natural population. So if someone is coming at you with like, well, that's not normal because you're lying too far outside of what is average or what is most common or what is most expected, you're fine. Like it is normal. It's part of the entire concept of normal. And for these populations, these outlier numbers to be excluded from this data set would mean that we've done the science wrong. Would mean that we have like constructed an idea of normal and then done our measurements in a way to support that instead of taking an actual legitimate measure of the whole population, which will, like every single time, result in this kind of curve. Okay, that is what I have to say about normal and I guess about depression. Okay, okay, bye bye.